everyone, this is Cloud5380 with my guide on the Steel Dragon Slayer assignments. In this guide we will be talking about the skills required to fight them, who assigns them as a task, best location to do the task, best strategy using their weaknesses, recommended equipment from lowest to highest, tips and tricks, and of course the key drops from them. Now you can choose a certain section of this guide if you wish, or just click the play all option. Make sure you have the annotations turned on. So to start this guide off, we will talk about the skills required to fight them. So first off, Steel Dragons, like a few other rare monsters, are actually a assignment you don't need a Slayer level to receive. However, this doesn't mean they're completely easy. As you all know, Steel Dragons have a high combat level, so you only be really assigned them once you reach a high combat level yourself. Here is a little bit of information to back that fact up. Their combat level is 246, they have 2,100 life points, they use a melee based attack and dragon fire. Their max hit is with melee 225, and dragon fire, if you have no dragon fire protection on at all, they can do up to 490 damage on you, so a couple of hits from that and you're going down. There's no specific Slayer item required to kill them, so you just need to rely on your own combat gear, and to be able to even fight these, I recommend highly you have 100 plus combat and 43 prayer as a bare minimum. Obviously if you're quite experienced with the game you may be able to fight them at earlier combat, but if you really want to get 99 Slayer, then that's really what you want to be at before you start even considering fighting them. So that's it for the skills. Now we will talk about who can assign them to you as a task. So, the lowest Slayer Master to assign them is Duradel or Lapalok. Duradel is replaced by him after you complete while Jagex sleeps, but they both have the same function. They can be found in Shiloh Village. You must have completed the Shiloh Village quest to be able to reach them. You need both 100 combat and 50 Slayer to use them as a Slayer Master. Now, I do recommend having 110 combat before asking them for frequent tasks though, just to increase the speed of the assignments because of the quantity and the level of the monsters you're going to be going against. They both assign between 40 to 80 Steel Dragons per task. The other Slayer Master is Curadal. She is the highest Slayer Master and can be found in the Ancient Cavern. You must have completed the Barbarian Training minigame in order to reach her. To use Curadal as a Slayer Master, you need both 110 combat and 75 Slayer. It is up to you to wait till you're 120 combat before asking for tasks, but it can be done. You may just find it's a lot quicker to stay to one Slayer Master below until then for speedier tasks. Curadal assigns between 40 to a maximum of 108 Steel Dragons. Anyways, that's it for Slayer Masters. On to the locations where you can fight them. So the first main location to fight them is at the Brimhaven dungeon. Just a few things you need to know about this dungeon. It is quite a distance from a nearby bank, so you want to make sure you've got as many supplies with you as you can. Also you need 875 coins and a hatchet in order to get in there and reach the dragons. However, if you have Karamja gloves free, either with you or in the bank, you can enter it for free. A lot of people say it is a pain to bring a hatchet with you due to inventory space, so I'm going to show you all how to find one that can be dropped once you're done with it, which saves you a bit of hassle then. So we're going to start from Brimhaven, and you can either reach here by getting a boat to the nearby dock, teleporting to Karamja, or walking there, or teleporting to your player-owned house if it's located in Brimhaven. So we're going to start walking from the player-owned house portal so I can show you where the hatchet spawn is. It's just inside this bar here on a table. Now they do spawn frequently, so you won't need to wait long if someone has already took one. And once you reach the Steel Dragons, you can then drop the hatchet to gain some more inventory space, and then you don't need to worry about loss of money because some people take like adamant or rune hatchets with them and they don't really want to drop them. So if you see where I go, we go past a few wild dogs once we're inside the dungeon. I paid the guy outside 875 coins because I don't have Karamja gloves free. So we come up with a few blockages and we have to chop our way through them. There's quite a few wild dogs in this place. If you're not very high defense or you're worried about your life points, you can protect from melee while you run past them just to be on the safe side. Eventually you come up to some moss giants followed by fire giants. Now the way I go kind of cuts off away from some other monsters. There is another route you can go, but you pass red dragons, so it's just to preserve some resources for the battle. We've got a few more blockages to get through, and then we'll be coming up to the Black Demons. Now, whenever I come up to these, I always put Protect Melee on ready and drink my anti-fire potion, because as soon as you walk past them into the area, the Iron and the Steel Dragons will try and cast their Dragon Fire attack on you. So try and get yourself away from the Irons, so you've only got the Steels that can really reach you. It will take a few minutes, but you really want to get in position and try and situate yourself near the closest two to save yourself some time and resources. Speaking of resources, if you have a level 80 dungeoneering, there is a resource dungeon you can use in here which has lots more iron and steel dragons inside and naturally less players. If you can use it, then go for it, because that's going to speed up your task immensely. So the next main location you can use is Curadel's dungeon. However, to be able to fight them in there, she must have given you the steel dragon assignment herself, so you must have the required levels to use her and therefore use this dungeon. The easiest way to reach this dungeon is by either using the Ferocious Ring teleport or heading to here from the nearby Fairy Ring or via the Whirlpool entry. We need to make our way past several monsters. You've got Hellhounds, Demons, Blue Dragons, Gargoyles, Abyssal Demons, Dark Beasts, Iron Dragons, and then you arrive at the Steels. There are some agility shortcuts you can use to reach them quicker if you can use them. The good thing about the dragons in here, they are separated from the irons and the steels are grouped together, so you can get through this task much more efficiently. So the final known location, not exactly a popular one, but it is available, is Dogox Fortress, located just next to the wilderness. Now to use this place you must have completed the temple at Seniston quest. Those who have done it know there are some numerous iron and steel dragons who patrol the courtyard. Now there are a few quick ways to reach access there, but it is quite a distance from a bank. You can either choose to teleport to the Snowy Hunter area and use the canoe, which is just north of there, to reach the fortress, or you can choose to head through the wilderness, which is much more dangerous, but you may find it quicker. So I'll just show you the way there from the Fairy Ring in the Snowy Hunter area. We have to head down the slope and then north past Olaf, and then if you keep following the water on the west side till you see the canoe, board that and you'll be just outside the fortress. We then need to squeeze past the ice block. I would have your anti-fire potion drunk ready and protect melee on till you engage them in combat, and then do your preferred attack method once you're safely inside. Like I said, it's not a popular choice, but due to this it's rare to find players, so this area is most of the time always free. Well, that's all about the locations. Next is strategies using their weaknesses. So the steel dragons have quite a few weaknesses that you can exploit. Their main weakness is stab and crush style attacks. I would be more inclined to go for a stab style, as they are weaker for stab than crush. The weapons that you can use for that are like spears, long swords, god swords, etc. You can also use fire spells, as they're very effective on them if you wish to go for a magic style attack. The other thing about this strategy is about their dragon fire. This bit is about the dragon fire protection. The most effective way to beat these dragons is to nullify their dragon fire. So an anti-dragon shield and an anti-fire potion together, or just a super anti-fire potion on its own, will completely stop any damage being inflicted upon you whilst the potion takes effect. For prolonged effect, multiple doses will need to be taken. Another little tip is by using the dragon fire protection and protect melee prey, and no damage can be inflicted on you at all. So the dragon fire protection method I just spoke about will be your main approach into killing these steel dragons most effectively and quick way possible. But that's all for the strategies. Now for the recommended equipment from highest to lowest. So there are 3 different setups that I have listed for you if you're going to go do these as a task, and it all depends on your preferred attack style, whether that's melee, ranged or magic. So what we will do is go through each attack style, and I'll tell you what the best equipment is from highest to lowest. So first we're going to look at melee. Now for helmet, you either want full Slayer helmet, black mask, helmet of Nyzatop, proselyte sallet or initiate sallet. The proselyte requires completion of the Slug Menace quest, and initiate requires recruitment drive. For cape, you either want a Soul Wars cape, Ardone cloak, Trim Skill cape, God cloak or Fire cape. For amulet, you either want an Amulet of Fury, Amulet of Glory, Amulet of Strength or any God stole. For weapon, you either want a Chaotic Longsword, Chaotic Rapier, Zamorakian Spear, Korasi Sword, Brackish Blade or Leaf Bladed Sword. Now if you're going to use a 2H weapon like Zamorakian Spear, you will need to have access to super anti-fire potions, which requires quite a high herb lore level. Can't quite remember what it is, I think it's about 85 plus, so you need to make sure you have that potion if you wish to use the spear. For shield, you either want an anti-dragon shield or dragonfire shield, and obviously with the strategy I spoke about earlier, you do want to have an anti-fire potion as well, so with using the shield and the potion you're able to completely protect against their dragonfire. For the body, you either want a proselyte hauberk or initiate hauberk. Legs, you want proselyte cuisse or initiate cuisse. Boots, you want dragon boots, rune boots, rock climbing boots or white boots. And for a ring, you either want a ring of wealth, explorer's ring, Fremenic ring, beacon ring, or if using Curadel's dungeon, ferocious ring can be used to inflict an extra 40 damage on top of your normal max hit. So this is the following inventory you're going to want. You want an emergency teleport, such as like a house tablet or a teleport tablet. You want anti-fire potions or super anti-fire potions if you're using a two-handed weapon, like I said. You want either an extreme or super attack and strength potions to be able to hit a lot of damage on the dragons quickly. Mini prayer or super prayer potions, but you're going to be literally protecting from melee the entire time. And a holy wrench is also useful to save some prayer points when using the potions. Now, if you get the highest recommended setup here, your prayer will only go down 6 to 7 points per minute while using protect melee at all times. So you will be able to use that to judge how many potions you exactly need. So like I said, this main attack method will literally consist of you using a anti-dragon shield and anti-fire potion or super anti-fire potion on its own, so you're completely blocking the dragon fire attack, and using protect from melee the entire times, so you're protecting yourself from the dragon's melee attack. With these two combined, you will not take any damage at all during your task, but you obviously need to make sure you keep drinking more doses of your anti-fire potion when it's about to run out, and making sure you keep your prayer high enough for protect melee to be activated. But I'll show you more of that properly later in the tips and tricks section. So this next setup is if you're going to use a magic style attack while fighting the dragons. This is the equipment you want from highest to lowest to be able to kill them the most efficiently. So for helmet, you want Full Slayer helmet, Hex Crest, Healer hat, Farseer helmet, Infinity hat or Mystic hat. For cape, you want the Completionist cape, God cape, Fire cape or God cloak. For amulet, you either want an arcane string necklace, Amulet of Fury or Amulet of Glory. For weapon, you either want Chaotic Staff, Staff of Light or the Master Wand. For shield, you either want Celestial Surge Box, Arcane Spirit Shield, Mage's Book, God Book, Dragonfire Shield or Anti-Dragon Shield. For body, you either want a Rims Robe Top, Infinity Top or Mystic Top. For the legs, you either want a Rims Robe Skirt, Infinity Bottoms, Mystic Robe Bottom. For boots, you either want Ragefire Boots, Infinity Boots, Wizard Boots or Mystic Boots. And ring, if you're going to be using Kurodal's Dungeon, you want Ferocious Ring to inflict an extra 40 damage on top of your normal max hit, or you want the Ring of Wealth. You will also want a summon, such as either a Pack Yak or a War Tortoise, to carry some of the potions and carry any loot you wish to bank, but this isn't compulsory, it just means you'll get a lot more kills per trip. So this is the inventory you're going to want. You're going to want an emergency teleport, such as a teleport tablet or an Ectovile, something like that. You're going to want a lot of anti-fire or super anti-fire potions if you're not going to be using a dragon shield. You want lots of runes for fire wave or fire surge spells. Make sure you have enough for the tasks to save yourself going back to the bank for more. 1 or 2 prayer potions just in case you mess up. You're not really going to be using prayer, so this is just as a precaution. And 1 to 3 sharks to be safe. So this main strategy will involve fighting the dragons at a distance, so they're only going to be using their dragon fire attack on you, hence why you're going to want anti-fire or super anti-fire potions to stop any damage being done on you at all. Like I said, you're not going to use any prayer at all while fighting them. In case you're getting a bit closer and to pick up your loot, you may want to resort to using protect from melee just to get your drops. That's why I said to bring a couple of prayer potions, but I will show you more of that in the tips and tricks section. So this setup here is if you're going to go for a ranged attack on the dragons, and the equipment once again is from highest to lowest in order for you to complete the task most quickly. So for helmet, you want the Full Slayer helmet, Focus Sight, Void Ranger helmet or Armadillo helmet. For cape, you either want a Completionist cape, Ava's Device or Soul Wars cape. For amulet, you want an Amulet of Fury, Amulet of Ranging or an Amulet of Glory. For weapon, you either want a Chaotic Crossbow, Hand Cannon or Rune Crossbow. For shield, you either want the Void Knight Deflector or Anti-Dragon Shield. Body, you either want Armadillo Chestplate, Black Dragon Hide Body, Elite Void Knight Top or Void Knight Top. For legs, you either want Armadillo Chain Skirt, Black Dragon Hide Van Braces, Elite Void Knight Robe or Void Knight Robe. Boots, you either want Glaven Boots, Ranger Boots or Snake Skin Boots. For ring, you either want the Archer's Ring Imbued, Archer's Ring or the Ring of Wealth, or if you're using Kurodal's Dungeon, Ferocious Ring can be used to inflict an extra 40 damage on top of your normal max hit. You may also want a summon, such as a Pack Yak or a War Tortoise, to carry some of the Dragonfire potions for you and carry any loot you wish to bank. But again, this isn't compulsory, it's just to help you get more kills per trip. So for your inventory, this is what you're going to want: an emergency teleport, such as a teleport tablet or Ectovile. You're going to want a lot of anti-fire or super anti-fire potions if you're not using a dragon shield. diamond bolts enchanted or runite bolts, or of course ammo for the hand cannon if you're going to use that. Just make sure you bring enough of ammunition for the task, 1 to 2 prayer potions in case you mess up, and 1 to 3 sharks to be safe. So this setup is pretty much the same as the magic one. You'll be doing the same approach. You'll be fighting the dragons from long range, so they'll only be using dragon fire attack on you, which is why it's important you must have your anti-dragon shield and anti-fire potion together, or just a super anti-fire potion so you don't take any damage from them. And like I said, the only time you really need to use any prayer is if you're going to go pick any loot up off them. It might be wise to turn protect melee on just in case they try and get a few sneaky hits in on you, but apart from that, that is all you're going to need for this setup. Well, that's all for the recommended equipment. Next is tips and tricks. Unfortunately, I don't have as many tips and tricks for steel dragons than I normally do for the other Slayer assignments, mainly because the Dragon Fire Protect method is the most major tip I can give you. However, I do have another useful tip for you all, which is how to collect loot effectively whilst fighting the dragons. As time is a major factor whilst fighting these, you don't want to spend too much time collecting your loot. Now, I will show you the method for each of the different setups I spoke to you about. So this first clip is going to be collecting the loot whilst using the range setup. So as you can see, I'm at a distance fighting these dragons, and they are only using their dragon fire attack, which I'm using the super anti-fire potions to protect from. Range isn't my best skill, which is the reason why I'm not hitting as much. But what the trick is here, which you'll see me do in a minute, is when the steel dragon gets to about 1/10 of his health left, I switch protect melee on ready. The main reason for this is another nearby steel dragon will try and go for me as soon as that one is dead, and if I'm close enough it will try and hit me with a melee attack. So as soon as that dragon's died, I've run straight over to the loot and quickly collected the bits that I want, while I'm being attacked by the second dragon. Once I've obtained the loot that I want, I turn melee protect back off and then repeat the method for each dragon from then on. So this does use a few prayer points up, but like I said, it saves the risk of you being hurt and you get your loot quite quickly then. So this clip is with me and my magic setup. As you can see, it's pretty much the same technique as the range setup, fighting them from a distance with anti-fire potions being used to protect from their dragon fire attack. You will probably notice I hit them a lot more frequently with my magic setup than I do with the ranged. The loot tactic with this one will be exactly the same as the ranged one. Once the dragon reaches a 1/10 of his health remaining, turn protect melee on, and as soon as it dies, go for the loot straight away and get whatever you need. You will be engaged in combat during this time, so once your loot's collected, set yourself back up and then repeat the method for the rest of the dragons. And finally, here is a clip of me and my melee setup. So as you can see, for this method I am using both protect from melee and full dragon fire protection at the same time. However, I hit them a lot more frequently and harder with this method, as melee is my best combat style. Now the loot collecting method for this setup is slightly different and harder because you are not fighting at long range. So once I've killed a dragon and it's died, I begin fighting another one, and once the loot has appeared, I wait for me to make a hit on the dragon I'm currently fighting and then quickly grab one bit of the loot, and once I have that, hit the current dragon again. Once I do this a few times, I will then have all the loot I want and would have still inflicted a lot of damage on the dragon I'm currently fighting. So by doing this, I'm not missing out on any attacks I'm inflicting, and I collect the loot at the same time. It may take you a few attempts to master this, but it is very effective. The timing is key though, just to make sure you collect the loot just after you hit the dragon. As I was using the Zamarakian spear, this method was a bit harder for me as the weapon is much more quicker attack style. My only last tip for you all is if you plan on being there for a while, bring some Beast of Burden pouches with you to help collect some of your loot to make your trip much more profitable. So last but not least is the rewards and key drops from them. So you will earn 220.4 Slayer XP per dragon. A task of 100 therefore will get you 22,040 Slayer XP, and even more for higher amounts signed like 150, 200 etc. Drops to look out for are dragon bones, which are 100% drops. They're worth quite a fair bit. Any charms. For weapons and armour you want to collect adamant hatchets, rune mass, rune battle axe, rune 2H swords, adamant kite shields, rune square shields, and rune full helmets, dragon plate skirts, dragon plate legs, and dragon med helmet. Runes and ammo, you want to collect blood, soul, law, death and nature runes, rune arrows, rune knives and rune bolts. For other, you want to collect runite limbs, rune bars, coins, ancient effigies, clue scrolls, they drop both hard and elite clue scrolls, corpse summons, ferocious rings if you're fighting them inside Kurodal's dungeon, and the legendary draconic visage, which is quite rare to come across, but if you're lucky enough to get that, good one on you. And also the rare drop table, they do drop stuff out of that as well. 90% of the rare drop table is good money. With a Ring of Wealth, the chance of receiving something from it is increased, and the highest reward at the moment in there is 20 mil if you're lucky. Just a little final tip for you all, bringing runes for high alkin drops can make your tasks very profitable. Almost all of their weapon and armour drops are good value to high alk, so like rune full helmets, adamant kite shields, anything like that can be high alked, and you're then able to stack the coins so you can collect a lot more loot then. Well, that's pretty much it for my guide on these monsters. I am pretty sure I have covered almost everything and hopefully make your future tasks with these much more effective. Of course, if you have any questions about them, then feel free to ask in the comment section below. These tasks do take time, but they are very worthwhile for the XP you get, and you can make some very good money from their frequent drops. Also, if you get something rare from the rare drop table, or even a elite clue scroll or draconic visage, you will always want these as a future task. Well, thanks for watching everyone. I have worked hard on this, so if you'd be so kind to like, comment, favourite, subscribe, and of course share with your friends. Thank you everyone, and happy slaying.